Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'll be actually considering one mid cap fund that is good for SIP as well as long term investments. So the fund I will be considering is Mirae Asset Midcap Fund Regular Growth. So it is currently having an NAV of 20.537 and its assets under management currently is 8753.87 crores, and it has actually it came with an NFO in 2019 and July 2019 at 10 rupees, and now it is trading at 20.5053. So it's already given around 100% returns in the 3 years. That is all over. If you just consider in mathematical terms, it's all the 33% return in 3 years. So if you see the NAV performance of this fund over the period last 3 years, right from NFO, it was actually trading at an NAV of around 9.10 in July 2019. It actually touched NAV touched around 11.69 in February 2020. Then it actually had a correction on account of COVID pandemic. It touched a all-time low of around 8.60. That was a very good investment time for investing in this particular fund for a long-term basis, either an SIP or lump sum basis. So if we had actually invested in lump sum basis, say 40,000 or 50,000, that would have been worth around over 1 lakh rupees currently. And from there, actually, once the market started recovering from the COVID, the fund price, the NAV of this fund also started to rise up, and the NAV touched around 10.30 in August 2020 and 10.5 in August, and it actually crossed 11 levels in September, and it actually started rising again to around 12.88 in December, and it actually had a steady progression, and the NAV touched 16.37 in March 2021, and it made an all-time high of around 20.84 in October, and it from there actually once the market was then actually it stabilized for a period of around till around 6 months till June. It actually was NAV corrected to around 18.80, and once the Ukraine war started, there was a correction in the market, but the NAV did not drop that much. It actually was just getting stable at around 18.8 in June. It was around 18.5 levels in June. Then actually started rising again once the market had a rally in September last year. It actually touched 21.80, and then now it is actually trading after the recent market correction. It is now at 31 March. It's actually trading in NAV of 20.39 or 20.5. So this fund actually having a fund size of 8,533 crores looks a very good fund for long-term investments. And for me, because Mirae Asset emerging blue chip, Mirae Asset actually has a history of very good returns. One of their flagship schemes is Mirae Asset emerging blue chip fund. It came in NFO in around 2015 levels. Now it is trading at NAV 2095, almost 800% returns in around 6-7 years. And this fund can also touch 50 levels in the next 5 to 10 years. And regarding the performance of this fund for the last 1 year, a 10,000 rupees investment in the fund in the last 1 year is worth around 9,719, a correction of 2.8% since the market had a fund in the last 1 year. A 2-year investment of around 10,000 rupees is worth around 12,700 now, that is 26% returns, or 12% annual 12.59% annualized return. Or 3-year investment in this fund for 10,000 rupees is worth around 26,451, that is 164% return. There's all annualized return of 38.18%. That's considered a very good investment. So you can see that if we are actually investing 1 lakh in this fund in 3rd April 2020, the fund value after the pandemic, when the fund price, when the stock and the NAV had dropped to around 8.69 levels. At that time, if you had invested 1 lakh rupees, the fund the value would have been around 2.64 lakhs now. So that is a return of around 164.5%, annualized return of 38.18%. That is actually considered a very good return. And if you see the return from inception, there is around a 10,000 rupees fund value is worth around 20,537. That is a absolute return of around 105% and the annualized return of 21.53%. And if you see the SIP performance of this fund in the last 1 year, if you had actually invested 1,000 rupees in SIP in the last 1 year, the return for an investment of 12,000 rupees, the fund value is 11,759. Since the market has corrected last 1 year, so if you had invested 1,000 rupees for a period of 2 years, for investment of 24,000, the fund value is 24,510, is a meager return of 2.13%. But if you have invested for 1,000 rupees for a period of 3 years, for investment of 36,000, the fund value is 46,000. That is a absolute return 28%, annualized return of 17%. So we can actually invest in this fund whenever there's a market correction or every dip. We can actually accumulate in this fund either in the lump sum route or SIP investments. I'm actually since fund has actually given very good performance over the last 3 years right from the NFO. I actually feel that this fund can actually give superior returns for long term for SIP as well as lump sum route, and is a worth a good fund for long term investment. So if you see the portfolio composition of this particular fund, it has actually have invested in around 58 stocks as on 31st March. So it is large cap investment is 12.63 percentage, mid cap investment is 55.3 percentage, and small cap investment is 13 percentage. So majority of the investment is in mid cap or 50% investment. So if you see the main stocks they have invested in their portfolio, they include the Federal Bank, leading private sector bank, Bharat Forge Limited, Axis Bank Limited, Shriram Finance, National NTPC, TVS Motor Company, Power Finance, Thermax, Jindal Steel and Power, and L&T Mindtree. So if you see the companies like Federal Bank, it has not actually given very good returns, but it is one of the leading private sector bank, actually has good growth in the last 2 years. So it looks a good stock for long term. But Bharat Forge is one of the leading auto ancillary companies, is a very good investment. And Axis Bank is a leading private sector bank in India, and Shriram Finance also has a leading transport finance company. NTPC is the leading power sector company, PSC power company. TVS Motor is one of the leading two-wheeler company, and Power Finance Corporation is a leading PSC finance company, but it is not actually given stock-wise returns in the last 3 years. It is actually having a less holding, but it is not actually giving good return for this particular fund in terms of stock price return. But the valuations looks very attractive. So there is limited downside in this company. So that actually gives a valuation comfort for this particular fund. And Jindal Steel and Power, it is actually a leading company in the steel sector. So its price is actually, stock price is actually depending on the fluctuations in the steel sector. Actually, there is a correction in steel prices in the last 1 year. So that has actually resulted in the stock price, fall in stock price. But long term basis on the current investments can actually give rewards for the long term in this particular. It has also have investment in L&T Mindtree. It is one of the leading IT companies of L&T Group. They actually merged Mindtree with them. And if you see the full holding of this company, they actually have investments in SKF India, leading ball bearing company, Bear Top Science, leading MNC company in agrochemical sector, Tata Communications, State Bank of India, Gujarat State Petronet. State Bank of India, one leading PSU banks, largest PSU bank in India. Gujarat State Petronet is not given very stock-wise return in the last 1 year, but valuations looks okay for that company. Bata India Limited, Coforge, leading IT company, and Page Industries Limited, Voltas Limited, Kajaria Ceramics, Imami Limited, Delivery Limited, the recently listed courier related company, Max Financial Services, Lupin, Atul Limited, Nuco Vistas Corporation, Bharat Electronics. All these are good quality mid cap and PSU companies. They also have investments in Crompton Greaves, Indraprastha Gas, Container Corporation, Prince Pipes, Craftsman Automation, Krishna Medical Institutes. These companies actually very given. Craftsman Automation has been a multi-bagger in the last 1 year. So the stock price has actually touched around 2,900 levels from around 1,500 levels, and it has also have investments in Sona Build position like that. So all these they have good set of good quality mid cap and small mid cap companies, mid cap and large cap companies and PSC companies. So they can actually give very good returns for long term investments, considering that they are actually one of the leaders in their segment and one of the leading companies in their industry segment. So this fund, based on their portfolio, this fund can actually give good returns in future also. A rough estimation of what kind of returns are possible in 10 if you are actually investing in SIP lump sum route for a period of 10 years or 20 years. So current NAV is around 20.53. So I just an estimate of what kind of returns as possible in this particular fund. So for reaching the NAV of 20.5 from the NFO of level of 10 rupees, the fund need to actually grow 20%. So I am actually doing that. It is actually grown 20% from the period 2019 over a year, every yearly basis. So the now NAV is around 20.5. It is so I am actually expecting an NAV of 20.73 at the end of the year. So based on that, is actually grown 20% every year from the NFO of 10 levels in July 2019. So assuming that investors actually investing in the SIP route, from 2023 onwards, I'm actually assuming that this fund is actually giving around 11% return. So I did a rough estimation of what kind of returns are actually possible. So NAV currently is 20.50. The next year, assuming 11% growth, it is NAV will be 22.5. Like that, I'm actually estimating around NAV around 2058.49 2034. So if you are actually investing 4,000 rupees per month, so the yearly investment is 48,000. So I'm taking the average purchase rate, that is current year NAV rate plus next year rate by divided by 2. Like that, I'm actually calculating the total units that will be accumulated by the investor over a period of 10 years. So the total investment over a period of 10 years will be 5,28,000, and the fund value at the end of 10 years, assuming the NAV of around 58 in 10 years, is 58.49. So I'm actually assuming that the fund value will become 9.39 lakhs. 9.39 lakhs after for an investment of 5.28 lakhs if if the investor is investing 4,000 rupees per month for a period of 10 years. So that is a very good return over a period of 10 years, since the investor is investing only 4,000 rupees per month, assuming that he's actually having a salary of around 50,000, 60,000, or if they can invest more. Suppose an investor is actually having a 80,000 salary, can invest around 6,000 or 7,000. So the fund value will actually approximately increase to around 12 lakhs for an investment of 7 lakhs or 8 lakhs. So that is a very good investment return for a period of 10 years. So if you are actually investing in SIP route for a period of 20 years, so suppose the NAV is 20.50 at the current levels. So I'm actually assuming 11% annualized growth. So based on that, I'm actually expecting an NAV of around 48 in 2032 and 53 in 2033. And like that, I'm actually estimating an NAV around 151 in 20 years. So it is not hard to believe if NAV of 151 in the 20 years, because we have got many mid-cap funds like SBI Magnum Midcap Fund that actually came in NFO 2013. Now it's trading at 151 levels, 158 level, 159 levels. So it is not difficult to assume that the NAV can actually touch 150 levels in this particular fund, Mirae Asset Midcap Fund, also in 20 years. So assuming that we are actually investing 4,000 rupees per month, so I am taking an average of next year plus NAV rate. The average I am taking as 20.50 plus next year divided by 2. So based on that, I am actually calculating the number of units accumulated over a period of 10 years. So the total investment will be 10 lakh 80,000 over a period of 20 years. You will be accumulating around 21,214 units. So the fund value for those much units will be at the end of 20 years will be around, based on the NAV of 151, will be 32 lakhs. So there is a gain of 21 lakhs over a period of 20 years, assuming that he's actually investing in just 4,000 rupees. So if suppose a salary of the investor is actually increasing over every year, there is a good chance that once you are actually performing well, the salary might increase. So if you are actually making additional investments, the total investment can actually increase to around 15 lakhs, and the fund value can also rise to around 35 to 40 lakhs, depending on what kind of returns the fund can actually give over a period of 20 years. So even if the fund manager is very good and the fund actually NAV touches 150, 170 levels also, there is a good chance that his fund value can actually touch 37 lakhs also, for an investment of around 12 lakhs or 13 lakhs, based on whatever investment he's actually making based on the surplus savings. So this fund, so if you're actually having five such funds where investments of total investment is 20,000 rupees, which is actually giving even 11% return, and NAV touches 150 levels in the period of 20 years. If you're actually investing right from the NFO level, there is a good chance that we can actually accumulate a for an investment of 40 lakhs in 5 separate funds, that is 20,000 per year over a period of 20 years. His fund value can actually touch anywhere between 1.5 crore to 2 crore over a period of 20 years. So that can actually serve his requirements in future, like building a home, or not building a home, but like his retirement expenses, or his salary of his child, or any other purpose, or the children's education, or any other purpose. So this fund looks a very good fund for long-term investments, and I'm actually very bullish on this fund. I have invested in this fund right from the NFO level, and I plan to hold my investment for long term. And this fund, this can actually be a very good term. It can actually become a multi-bagger fund in future also.